So, the usual tremendous roar at Hampden Park and the noise of the 10 pipe bands drawn from the Royal Scottish Pipe Band Association and the drum major Ian MacPhail. As usual, flags are plenty in evidence. And the two teams greeting the supporters. No official tickets from the English Football Association on this occasion. The FA didn't apply for tickets, but there are one or two supporters who bought their tickets from the Scottish FA. So let's check on the Scottish lineup. Andy Roxburgh gives the first cap to Stuart McKimmie of Aberdeen, and the choice of his club colleague Robert Connor gives them a natural left-sided player in midfield. Up front they have Mo Johnston and Ali McCoist to test England. As for Bobby Robson's men, Tony Cottee has had to wait for 3 years in the squad, but finally he starts the game. Gary Stevens, who plays his football of course at Rangers these days, is recalled, as indeed is Trevor Stephen of Everton, whose last game was against the USSR at Frankfurt at the end of the disappointing European Championships. In terms of the World Cup and Poland next week, Bobby Robson, I think, will be looking at the front men and the wide men to make a case for inclusion, and I would think too Trevor Brooking, he'll be looking closely at the right back.
Well, Gary Stevens has been under a little bit of pressure, and I felt Paul Parker played very well against Chile. It was a bit of a non-event as a match, but Paul Parker has certainly put pressure on Gary Stevens' performance today. And of course, looking at the Poland game, you've got Peter Shilton in goal, then the back four and the two central midfield players, Webb and Robson. That seven really, I think, will start off against Poland, and it is going to be a good test, particularly competing against the front two of Mo Johnston and Ali McCoist. Mo Johnston in particular, there he is, just testing the ball, make sure it's going to end up in the back of the net, he hopes, in the right way, but he has certainly, along with Ali McCoist there, still just about getting over Rangers' defeat by Celtic, but those two have played together, and in their World Cup campaign been very formidable, so it will be a good test for the English defence, there's no doubt about that.
It's been a lot of publicity, and quite a lot of it adverse, about the selection of John Fashanu, who gets his second cap and at least has a partner in Tony Cottee that he'll find the understanding, there's Tony Cottee with him, rather more easy to establish. Trevor Stephen, he's been out all season, but gets a chance, as I suggested, to make his case. Of course, no players here from Liverpool and Arsenal, and one or two on the injured list too. Referee is a Frenchman, Michel Vautreau. This is his fourth game in the Rous Cup, and he gets it underway with Scotland attacking the goal to our left. And Terry Butcher by now is used to the booze on foreign soil, where he has made his temporary home as the captain of Rangers. Pearce to Waddle. They drove the ball at Fashanu. McStay. There was a feeling in the Scottish camp that if Paul McStay plays well, so does Scotland. That's well left by Stephen, and well used by Waddle. This is Stevens, cut out by McLeish. Good to see Chris Waddle wanting the ball so much so early. Robbed by Aitken. McCoist was held a bit by Walker. Good advantage played by the referee. Pat Nevin a little reluctant to get forward on the right side, but now has the space to run at people. This is McKimmie, the new boy. Nevin could have had a shot. Aitken does. Got a deflection. No, it didn't. And Peter Shilton wearing a Scottish jersey, because the only one that England brought up was blue, and obviously he couldn't play in that. not the first time it's happened. He played against the Republic of Ireland in the European Championship in an Irish jersey. From England's point of view, it's to be hoped that's not a bad omen. Fashanu and McLeish. It's sad to hear John Fashanu being booed. McLeish. McCoist. Good play by Robson. Cotty. Pitch was well watered this morning, but it's still quite hard, and there's plenty of grass on it. Webb. Fashanu. Incidentally, there are 5 survivors on each side, compared with this fixture 2 years ago, which ended scoreless. That's only happened 3 times, but that was a hugely disappointing game where Bobby Robson referred to tired legs and tired minds. It's the point that Andy Roxburgh picks up in the programme and agrees that players can lose their sharpness because of the demands and rigours, as he puts it, of the domestic programme. But he goes on to say, however, it's the dream of schoolboys and professionals alike to participate in this oldest fixture. And that passion will surely drive the players forward to satisfy the nation's expectations. McCoist. Walker. McStay saw that early, showed good pace, but not a good pass. Could have actually gone on then another 2 or 3 yards and given the England defence a more testing angle for the cross. He's a lovely balanced player. He saw that so early, but I think he could have got on a little bit further than he did. Gary Stevens will certainly be pleased to have Trevor Steven ahead of him. It's always looked more comfortable for England when Trevor Steven has been playing, I think it's fair to say. A lot of debate about Trevor Steven as to whether he's going to move during the summer. Rangers in Scotland are said to be interested. But it might be argued, is there any quality player that Graham Souness is not interested in? That's a foul by Butcher. Straight through. Mo Johnston. You could say that Mo was mowed. Oh, he enjoyed the joke. Malpass. Butcher. Webb. Not easy. And Aitken was snapping at his ankles. High feet, and the referee gives the free kick to England, which is not a popular decision. No amount of harum-scarum in the first 5 minutes.
Usual early skirmishes in an England-Scotland game, and it always takes 5-10 minutes for the pattern of the match to settle down, and hopefully with the weather being quite warm again, it will settle the match down, because you don't want a hurry-scurry match, because that's not really what's going to happen when England play Poland next weekend, because the European style, and particularly Scotland get to the World Cup, has almost looked certain. The European style is definitely a slower form of football to the one England-Scotland usually compete with.
That's well used. This is Connor. Dave McPherson. Malpass, one of 5 players to play in every Scottish side in the starting lineup this season. Connor. Jim Leighton, 49th cap today. One more would mean that his picture would be up in the headquarters of the Scottish Football Association, and he will get home tickets for international matches for life. What a nice touch. McLeish. Pearson Butcher. Butcher makes it his. Fashionu, not the best of challenges by McPherson. Fashionu has a shooting chance here. Just as he was thinking about it, he was very well blocked. Webb didn't control it as well as he might have. It was McKimmie who just got a foot in at the vital moment then. Good play by Malpass. This is Connor. Aitken has gone ahead of him. Malpass of Dundee United, looking for McCoist of Rangers, who has Butcher of Rangers together with him, and the free kick is England's way.
Yes, while Peter Shilton takes that free kick, it's worth dwelling a little bit on the opportunity John Fashionu had just now, because there's been a lot of criticism, first of all, for his selection, and you know, once you get away from defenders at international level, you mustn't dwell on the ball before you shoot, and he gave the defender the opportunity to get back and make the tackle, and that's something he's got to come to terms with very quickly.
Walker, this is a good break. Which there? Two up for Scotland, with Nevin wide on the right. Butcher winning most in the air. Not the best of challenges. Free kick against Brian Robson. Sun brightening Hampden Park again. Temperature in the low 70s, I would think. Stephen. Webb. Linesman on this side is Alexis Ponnet of Belgium, and he will be in the middle for Scotland against Chile on Tuesday. And the linesman on the far side giving the offside decision. And Mo Johnson, player caught. And Eric Fredriksson of Sweden is the linesman. He, of course, was in the middle for England's game against Chile, which one hopes was the short straw. Oh, they were expecting Jim Leighton to come. They were waiting for him, and he stayed on his line until really quite late. It's quite clear that they thought this was the goalkeeper's ball. McLeish, look, they're waiting, and in the end, he has to go down. Jim Leighton's sweater. Peter Shilton was slightly concerned that the Scottish sweater might not fit him, because he is rather more solidly built than Jim Leighton. Many creases on Leighton's. I don't think there'll be too many on Shilton's. Ten minutes gone. No score in the 107th meeting between these two sides. Oldest international fixture, starting here in the city of Glasgow in November 1872. It's a tradition that certainly couldn't be brought to an end, but maybe it's a match which needs to find a different place in football's calendar. Referee didn't like the challenge from behind by Butcher. Butcher has certainly let both Mo Johnson and Annie McCoist know that he's a barrier that can be quite prickly. McStay challenged by Cotty at that moment. Stephen. Malpass. Connor. McStay. Aitken. Needs somebody right side. McKimmie a little reluctant to come forward. That's a good ball by McKimmie though. Aitken again, the Scottish skipper. Robbed by Butcher. Enjoys his role of getting forward, Roy Aitken. Stevens. This is the sort of position from which England would like to see Stevens find the penetrating ball. He's actually gone forward and left Stephen to the cross rather. singular cross brings the first corner. Fashanu on the near post, Cottee behind him, Butcher coming up to join Fashanu. In fact, Fashanu moving away to the edge of the 6-yard area. Trevor to take the corner. And Brian Robson hounding in on it. And Jim Leighton was complaining. And another corner has been given. Neil Webb moving to the angle as Robson comes behind him, number 7. Thought that was going to fall to him. Oof. A little flick from John Fashanu, but no one able to provide the finishing touch. But a couple of teasing corners there for Jim Leighton.
John Fashanu and his Wimbledon touch on at the near post, and really Brian Robson ended up in the back of the net. But unfortunately for England, the ball didn't. It was the perfect cross, really. It could have come off the defender's head or a forward's head. This time it was John Fashanu, and really the faintest of touches, and England could have gone ahead.
Here's Fashanu again. Cottee. Waddle left it for Robson, who was well policed by McStay. Just one thought occurs to me, Trevor, about that corner. If they're going to use John Fashanu with those back flicks, they've got to have somebody running in on the angle instead of everybody running flat.
Well, the timing of crosses and runs, I mean, most sides, and I'm sure Bobby Robson has been the last few days, work on the timing of runs. On that occasion, the cross came too early, and Brian Robson and Neil Webb were both a little bit late, so they're going to have to come in from perhaps a bit deeper rather than straighter, as you said.
Dave McPherson, Hearts. Waddle's early cross, Cottee's flick. Tony Cottee, obviously very pleased to be given the chance. This is his 7th cap, but his first choice in the lineup. Mass ranks at Hampden. Crowd limited to 70,800, and it's rumoured that not all the tickets were sold. Stevens, Fashanu and McLeish need support. Tried for the cross when he was actually running out of ground. The attempt applauded, the pass applauded, but the result is a goal kick. Quite a high view from the back of the terraces, and they've been watching the match like the rest of us for 15 minutes. No score. Robson's head up. Fashanu. Waddle. Webb has got forward, nice touch inside. Robson did well, good save. Good save by Jim Leighton. Because in the way the ball's sitting up a little bit, probably drew Jim Leighton a bit further than he might have wished, but he did well to cover it. Waddle outside of the boot, Webb with a touch inside. There's the moment it fell for Robson. Good save. In fact, Leighton held his ground very well indeed. Webb. Brian Robson, the top scorer in this England lineup with 24 goals, and a couple of times in evidence around the Scottish 6-yard line.
It was a good opportunity, good ball from Webb, very aware where Brian Robson was, and probably it was Brian Robson's first touch that let him down. Then he hurried the shot, but the first touch, when he controlled it, he put it to the side rather than into his stride where he could have hit it. But a good move by England.
And Jim Leighton, a good stop. Fashanu. Waddle. Cotty, Pearce in support. 3 others up for England. Waddle, Webb is square. It's too long. Didn't need the touch actually from McLeish. But presumably McLeish making the point to Jim Leighton, well, you didn't tell me. Four corners. First from this right-hand side. Ashenu didn't get to it, McPherson did. Oh, feet were high again. Free kick against Trevor Stephen. England coming to Hampden on an unbeaten season after the demise of the side, which was in truth rather over-publicised before the last European Championships. The expectancies were far too high. They've had 4 wins and 3 draws. Scotland doing ever so well in the World Cup, leading Group 5 with 9 points out of 10. Five players forward for Scotland. McStay now in possession. Aitken. Switch of the angle to Connor. Now is he prepared to take on Stephen? Stephen very happy that he's gone inside, I'm sure. But it runs through, and here's McCoist, and that's a good stop. Good spread by Peter Shilton. He wasn't going to get the ball first time, but he was going to block the shot. Scotland's first corner. Coming as we approach the 19th minute. McPherson didn't make it, Fashanu did. Nevin, bit of shirt tugging. Webb. The sting taken out of it. Shilton quick to get on with play and change the angle of attack. Pearce. Cotty. Stevens is, I was going to say, his club colleague. They were. Stevens was at Everton, but left before Cotty arrived, of course. It's curling, and that's a great goal by Chris Waddle. Oh, that's a lovely goal by Waddle. He can put that in his collection, all right. England had the lead after 20 minutes. Chris Waddle's 6th goal for his country, and he really met that with the meat of his forehead. Gary Stevens cross, Waddle unmarked coming across the 6-yard line, really met it well. And it's a plus not only for the scorer to make his case to being included against Poland, but also the cross, even if it was a traditional English cross, from Gary Stevens.
Well, the Scotland crowd a bit stunned by that, but it was an excellent goal. Good build-up by England. Moved it from the left, played it into Tony Cotty, played it wide. Trevor Stephen decided not to go to the byline himself. Played it back. Gary Stephen whipped in a perfect cross. There's Trevor Stephen, thinking twice about going past the man. Whipped in, and Chris Waddle, must be that haircut, Barry, mustn't it?
Don't think I'm qualified to comment on such things, Tony. So we've avoided a 4th goalless draw. And there is a certain amount of relief about that up here in the commentary box. But it won't be a popular score with 99% of the crowd. But it is there. That's the English area, a small encampment on Scottish soil. Malpas. Malpass. Yeah, he's punched in quite a small area of the field. Aitken. McStay wants it. Wasn't given it. Free kick against Robson. Sheffield happy that two men are guarding his right-hand post. The left as we look. Goalkeeper's right. Playing hopscotch on the far side. McLeish up at the back, got the knock down, but I think propelled himself a little bit. Anyway, a goal kick has been given. McLeish seemingly claiming that it came off an English head. I thought he won it cleanly enough. Arguably pushed and shoved a bit.
Scotland haven't started like a side who won 9 out of 10 points in their World Cup group. You think they'd be full of confidence and wanting perhaps to beat the old enemy, but they look a bit edgy, and England really have looked the more confident side, even though they're playing in front of a near capacity Scotland crowd.
Good little nick by Webb. Stephen Fashanu is down hurt, and it's the left knee that caused him a problem against Chile when he had to come off, and it was on the inside of the left knee that he suffered the pain, and this is not good news for the Wimbledon player. Fred Street coming on, Norman Medhurst. I think be quite understandable if Steve Bull on the right there, or Nigel Clough, but particularly Steve Bull, who hasn't had an opportunity yet, just wondered, am I really that close to getting a chance? Would be only the 5th player from the 3rd division. Nigel Clough, who played against Chile, quietly but surely has an international future. Some concern for Nigel that he might follow Dad in the sense of being called up and then forgotten. His father won 2 caps in the space of 11 days and then never played again. But for the moment, the thoughts of the 2 reserves are academic. Fashanu does not intend to give ground. Fashanu, oh dear. Oh, he was kicked again by Aitken. The referee had a quick word, and John Fashanu was quite relaxed about it. It's just inside the left knee, and I think he's had a bang in exactly the same place. Trevor Stevens' cross is a bit long. Determination from McStay, who was taking on Brian Robson. Stuart McKimmie, Aitken, Nevin hasn't seen too much of the ball as yet. Nice tight control, but the play goes backwards. McLeish. Them quite flat across the back as the attack builds up. Well pulled down by McKimmie. McStay. McCoist. He won one there. Butcher was the challenger, but I think little Laddie McCoist made sure that Michel Vautreau gave Scotland the free kick. McPherson is up on the left side, beaten to it by Butcher. It's been very, very solid in the air. Mo Johnston. Aitken. McPherson. And England escape. Shilton came charging off his line. It was a very difficult ball, and McPherson stayed forward. But the ball was taken off his toe by Des Walker. Walker and Shilton in conversation. I think it's Butcher is down. But he's okay now. He has been hugely effective in the air, Terry Butcher. Oh, there was a bit of a push, or was there? Referee didn't spot one. Aitken. Two Scots staying back, marking Tony Cotty. Everybody else in an attacking position. Comes off Pearce. Corner. It's good pressure this from Scotland. Enjoying their best spell so far. Preston on the near post. McLeish nearer the kicker. Nevin. Johnson and McStay. Untimely slip by Connor. Recovered brilliantly. Early cross. Fashanu back as defender as McLeish has come forward. Shoulder to shoulder. Trevor Stephen. England though being hurried and harried. Connor. McKimmie. Playing with a great deal of confidence on his first appearance on the Scottish side. Another corner. What a good spell, Trevor, by Scotland.
Definitely the best spell of pressure there I've had. And the right back, as you said, Stuart McKimmie, comes forward well, doesn't he? There's slight question marks defensively about it, but I think he's settling very well into international football.
Golly, this is a better game than 2 years ago, I can tell you. Off Webb. Oh, it was long since gone. And the referee telling Terry Butcher that he's allowed time for that unnecessary clearance into the crowd. We've had half an hour. England lead by 1-0. And England prepared for the substitution as the corner's taken. Nevin. Connors at the back, good header by Pearce. Waddle. Goal a little over 10 minutes ago, but the atmosphere at Hampden has changed since. Stephen. Big kick is given. McLeish feeling he won the ball. One has to have some sympathy for John Fashanu. He is being forced to withdraw. So pleased to get a second chance, but the injury that he sustained on Tuesday troubling him again after getting a knock in an identical place. And on comes Steve Bull for his first cap. And he's only the 5th player to appear from the 3rd division, following Tommy Lawton with Notts County, Reg Matthews with Coventry, Johnny Byrne with Crystal Palace, and Peter Taylor also with Crystal Palace. Good cover by Butcher. 102 goals he scored in helping Wolves come from the 4th division to the 2nd, where they'll play next season. He's done well too at under 21 level. A couple of goals on the recent B Tour. And Bobby Robson said he would have no concern about putting him in, and that he has done. Webb. Ball started to run. It's not that big a fellow. Certainly several inches shorter than Fashanu. Offside against Mo Johnston.
Creates even further interest, doesn't it, seeing Stevie Bull come onto the scene. We've all been watching those goals go in. There he is, the old-fashioned crew cut, but he does tuck them away in the net, and let's see what happens when he gets his first opportunity this afternoon.
Lovely name for a goal scorer too, isn't it? Bull. Here he is. Robbed by Connor. Webb. Header by McLeish over Cotty. Webb. And Walker and Johnson having a dance, and the referee didn't like it, awards them no points and wants a few words. Free kick against the England player. And there they are together, as they have been for quite a lot of the time. Walker backs away, comes for the header. And I think it was his black curls that won it. Connor. Malpass. Ball quickly in. Connor. Awkwardly away by Butcher. Malpass's header, Mo Johnston got away for a moment and then couldn't take the ball with him.
That was Mo Johnston at his best on the anticipation, but he just couldn't control the ball and it just ran away from him. But he does read those situations in the penalty area very well.
Lad from Hearts, McPherson. No Sloth coming forward. Johnston wanted another free kick against Walker. Just under 10 minutes of the first half remaining. England leading by 1-0. A lively contest. The legs may be tired, but the minds don't seem to be. And the effort producing quite a bit of entertainment. Stephen ignored Stevens, who'd made the run on the right. Interesting flick from Webb. Goal kick.
Good little interchange. It didn't quite come off the back heel from Neil Webb, just a bit high for Trevor Stephen. But just in those attacking situations at the moment, England looking a little bit more clear side in ideas. It just, as you see here, the ball played in, Neil Webb gets it under control, little back flick, and Trevor Stephen having to get it down, and the ball wouldn't come down to hit the volley. But they have got a few more imaginative ideas, I think, than the Scottish side, who are sort of relying on longer balls in.
Good flick on by Johnson. This is McCoist. Handball given against Butcher. Good contest between these two club colleagues at Ibrox. To say that McCoist's cheek on the field certainly has appeal. Webb turning round there to get the ball lined up, not leaving it entirely to the goalkeeper. Connor, Pearce, McKimmie, Johnston. Several Scots in the box. Only found Webb of England. Aitken, back in again. And that little exchange, Trevor, rather supporting your comment of a few minutes ago. It was just pushed in, there was no serious thought as to how the space might be found and the shot created.
Just that little bit of subtlety, and as well, you know, the player on the left-hand side of midfield, Robert Connor, who I hadn't seen before, he's one of those wide lads who sits. It doesn't seem as if he's going to be the sort of player who's going to go and have a go at his fullback and get to the byline, which is where you really need to get your crosses in from.
Good cover by Malpas. Not a good ball, though. Bull. Waddle. The kick against McStay. England with 3, now 4 forward. Bull is the most central player, being lent on briefly by McLeish. Ferguson with Cotty. Waddle wide to the left. Great climb by Johnston that totally pulled Butcher. Whistles for the clearance. Stuart McKimmie, 26 years old he is. Recently asked for a transfer at Aberdeen. So whether he likes it or not, and he's been trying to play it down, he's putting himself in the shop window here. Got his chance on Monday when Richard Gough withdrew from the squad. Pearce, good determination, nice control too. But he rather spoilt it by just banging the ball across without so much as a glance. Into the last 5 minutes. 1-0 to England. Waddle the scorer. Nevin. He's got a lot to do. He had no help. McCoist. McStay. Again. The ball was played before McStay was moving forward, which I find difficult to understand. Aitken. Here's Webb. Robson with the freedom of Hampden Park. Stephen. Waddle. With that lolloping stride of his. Bit of injection of pace from Cotty, but good clearance by McLeish. Now Connor. Malpas coming up on the left side, that's the best ball. It's got to be played and this is going to go. He left it too late. And the flag went up for offside anyway. That really looked a promising break from up here for Scotland.
Robert Connor there, who held on to possession. You can see him running in. He's waiting for Maurice Malpas to get up, and he's taken a long time. He had a long way to run, Malpas, and then tried to flick it with the outside of his left foot, and it broke down. As you can see there, the offside flag went up. But it's just in those situations at the moment, Scotland, being the home team, are not getting sufficient numbers forward. McCoist broke just now, and again he didn't have many options, and you've got to push men forward, especially now when you're 1-0 down.
Ferguson. Robson. Pearce. had that one spell, Scotland, that apart, the Whites have had the control. Ferguson. Solid header again by Butcher. And here's Bull, just the touch from Malpass. That's the first time that he was setting sights. Cotty getting the better of McKimmie. Waddle, Cotty outside. 3 in the box for England. Wide one is Trevor Stephen, and it was Connor who put the ball out of play. Cotty setting up the opportunity, beginning to settle in a bit too. Waddle has come across to take it. Hitcher in his usual place on the near post. Back to Gary Stevens. Waddle, 5 England players forward. McCoist, and just banged away by McStay. There's nobody there. At least not in a blue shirt. Pearce. Waddle, a touch of arrogance just down to Stevens. Webb, shooting chance, finds Trevor Stephen, who's offside.
I'm not sure necessarily it was Trevor Stephen. I think Tony Cotty was offside. Surprising, there were 1 or 2 options for England there, and Scotland living a little bit dangerously. They don't want to go in at half-time 2 down.
McLeish. Connor. Stake by Butcher to McCoist. Nevin. McStay leaves it. Aitken, well struck, but well wide. But at least the attack ended with a Scottish shot of sorts. Too many of them haven't. Just a moment then when McCoist looked as though he was prepared to go through the middle. I don't think that was deliberate, the step on the ball. Dummy, first time shot, but driven well wide by Aitken.
That opening really came just as Terry Butcher's first mistake actually created the opening, but Terry Butcher had an excellent first half, and must be surprised how Scotland have been playing to his height, really, because he's had so many headers.
That's well played by Bull. Cotty taking on McPherson. Webb over to the right. And Waddle, well, was that a pass to Webb, or was that intended to be a side footer of rather greater force?
I think he was trying for a spectacular curling shot which scuffed the ground and looked pretty tame, and that's why he was having a little smile. I think he'll remember the header rather than that shot.
I'll tell you what, that one didn't get out of the barrel. And we've played now 40 seconds of time allowed for injuries and stoppages by the French referee. McLeish. Malpass. Pearce. Mr. Ball thrower has taken 2 very long looks at the watch on his wrist. McStay. Nevin. McPherson. McKimmie. Could be the last chance for Scotland in the half. Free kick has been given. A little smile from the smallest player on the pitch. Nevin, 5'6" and 10 stone. other Tannaball players. Scotland have had a fair number of those. All of them very good too. There's a shopping queue coming for it. One by Walker. Connor. Straight back. Walker again. McStay. Shilton all in line. Scotland not making the most of their opportunities, which has really been the story from their point of view of the first half, which in the main England have controlled and lead by 1-0. A spectacular goal by the man at the back there with the different hairstyle, Chris Waddle.
I think the scoreline just about right, really. 1-0 to England. Chris Waddle, a good header that looked very controlled, knocked it around well. Scotland relying a little bit on high crosses and perhaps not got a Gillespie or Hansen at the back to bring the ball out and set up their attacks. But at the moment, scoreline, I think, just about right.
Scoreline 1-0 to England at half-time.
Well, Jim, what do you make of it all? Not a great half, was it? But a reasonable half.
No, quite reasonably exciting. I think we were looking forward to it being a bit boring, but the referee was very clever there. Blew the whistle just on a high, shot and a save. Everybody's excited in Hampden. Blow the whistle.
For a bit of theatre.
They'd imagine they've seen a great first half. It's not a bad one. I mean, as Trevor says, I think England deserved to be in front. You know, they have created more chances, although there have been moments at the back where the Scots might have got a goal or two. So it's there's been some goal-mouth activity.
Steve
anyway.
Gould's on. We haven't seen much of him after Fashanu, unfortunately for him, had to go off early, and he was involved in one of the early incidents for England.
Yes, he was. In fact, it's the short corner again, the near-post corner. There he is on the front of it. There's nothing to stop this if it's done well, and he does get a touch. But the second half of it wasn't done as well, because you know, one player was in, Cotty was in too quickly, and Webb and Robson were in too slowly. There it is again. Difficult to defend against, as I say. It's done as well as that. Lovely little touch on, and you can see, look at that ball invitingly rolling across the goal. But the players, to be fair, were well marked by the Scots. They kept just goal side of them, the players that were running in, so they did defend well against it.
Disappointed for him having to go off as early
Yes,
as
it
that.
was. His confidence has obviously been affected by what's been written about him. You know, that he's disgraced to the England great centre-forwards of the past.
Well, that is unfair.
I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah. But you could see that he was trying to be very careful at the start of the game when he was trying to get it down. And you can't play football when you're trying to be too careful. You've got to have total confidence, be relaxed, and know you're going to control it and lay it back. So I feel a bit sorry for him at the end of the day. But I must agree, he ain't an England international in my book.
Here is an England international,
yes.
the captain himself, who
Yes,
got involved in a chance as well. We'll see.
Yeah. Good passing movements. I mean, there have been a few. That's a lovely ball there from Waddle, flick forward. And a first-time ball from Webb. See, he tried to take it down on the outside of his foot, which wasn't a good idea, but there was a deflection there. That's a superb save from Leighton, I think. The ball was a little deflected.
Such an easy game from here, because the first-time shot would have done the trick, wouldn't it?
Well, it would, but he tried to take down the outside of his ankle. Didn't quite come down right for him, but the way he recovered and got the shot in quickly was very good. I mean, he made up for that and brought out that lovely save.
Good save from the keeper.
Terrific.
Scotland somewhat disappointing. When you look at their team on paper, we were saying they might even look as though on paper they've got a better side. But
yes.
They haven't done that much.
Well, there are new internationals and things. They're feeling their way a little bit as well, but they have created the occasional chance. And Shilton had to move pretty quickly, I think, on this occasion. Connor flicks the ball in there. I think it was. Let's see. There's the little dummy that set it up, really, and there's. Well, Corriston, what you see, I think he must have kicked his fingers then. That was very much a 50-50 ball.
He was certainly quick off the line. People who say he shouldn't be playing for England at 40 because he's all slowed down and all the rest of it. But
with that match against Poland next Saturday afternoon to look forward to, we should be sitting with knees knocking there.
2 weeks, isn't it? 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. And that's. I'm glad to see Shilton moving as quickly as that in the heat, because he may be needed.
All right. Now here's the goal, and what a splendid goal it turned out to be. What
It
about
was
the
indeed.
What
It
about
was
the defence here, though?
Lovely passing movement. Well, I rather look upon the attack because it was from goal to goal, as it were. Pearce on the ball, taking the throw out from Shilton, and they really were in control of themselves at this time. There's a nice little ball. Now this Cotty turn and wriggle there to set up the change of play to the other flank was really what started it off. It's touched on, and Stevens on the ball there, he doesn't know whether he wants to go past his man, but they don't go down the line these days, do they? So he throws the responsibility elsewhere, and Gary Stevens takes a lot of criticism. Perfect cross, and what a lovely run. Nobody watching him, but he moved because he knew that they had rehearsed that kind of movement. Lay the ball back, it's going to be a spinning cross in, and it's up to somebody to get on the end of it. So we're critical of England when those things don't work. Well done.
I'll still repeat the question. What about the defence? Nobody went with Waddle.
No, bad marking.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right.
OK, Roy Aitken had a shot towards the end of the half there. There was quite a build. I've forgotten what the build-up was, but let's have a look at it again.
Well, it was a dummy in the England penalty area, or just outside of it. That wasn't intentional. But at the end of it, as Nevin plays the ball square, you'll see a lovely little dummy which creates the chance for the shot, fair amount of power in it. And Shilton says, I've seen those before and love it when they go past the post.
And McStay had another effort right on half-time there as well.
Yeah. But the game wide open now. I'd like to see the Scots come back, and I don't mind who scores the goals in this next 45 minutes.
You like a few statistics, don't you? Goal attempts 3 each, corners 5-4 for Scotland, fouls 4 for Scotland, 11 for England, offside 3-2, and goals 1-0. OK, thanks, Jimmy. We'll have the second half coming up. Let's enjoy the band just for a few moments.
There are 10 pipe bands in all, drawn from the Royal Scottish Pipe Band Association under Drum Major Ian MacPhail. Among the spectators, manager of Celtic, Billy McNeill, whose side was successful here last week. And the mass bands marching off to Highland Laddie. Yes, that's a rather better picture of him. The first one looked like one of those What No adverts a few years ago. Ah, there's a good tash. And the youngster. Plenty of puff. I would think the Scottish supporters will be hoping there'll be plenty of puff from their side. They haven't had too much success in this fixture recently. Due a win, they won here in 1985. That's the only success in the last 7 games, or 7.5 now. It's a fixture which over the years has owed nothing to past form, and to be fair has offered little as a future guide. It's very much a one-off fixture. Doesn't entirely sit comfortably as contest between 2 of the 3 teams in the Rous Cup, and he's enjoying himself. Can't help feeling that Sir Stanley is deserving of a better memorial. No interesting lines on the flags, and for the first time I haven't spotted any reference to Bannockburn, which usually gets a show. Battle of 13-14. And the 2 Scottish flags of St Andrew. Record between the teams. England have won 42 times, Scotland 40, 24 draws. And England's goal was their 187th. Scotland has scored 168. He's keeping a careful eye on the crowd and the Scottish substitutes who are warming up. Between the departure of the bands and the arrival of the teams for the second half. A French song with rather an American pronunciation, allied to the Scottish twang. The ball boys on their way. Brian Robson leads England out again, captaining England for the 53rd time. Great roar for Roy Aitken and his men. It's a warm afternoon in the city of Glasgow. Good for the washing, not quite so good for the football. But all things are relative. It's not the greatest game between these two sides, but it's a great deal better than their meeting a couple of years ago. England leading by 1-0 as Michel Boutreau gets the second half underway. Stevens, Pearce, the goal scorer. As you joined us late on Grandstand, Chris Waddle scored the goal in the 20th minute with his head. Webb. Connor. Everything from Connor comes inside, it's just a question of when. McLeish is making his way forward. McKimmie in possession. Struck it well. What a good shot from the new fella. Really lovely strike with his left foot. From 30 yards. Oh, perhaps 27. Hits it well. Body behind it. Peter Shilton. McStay. He had a lot to do then. Bull. Only down to Malpass. Nevin. Back again for Nevin. Oh, there was one touch too many from him. And it took the chance away. Waddle, long for Bull, took it well and struck it well. Doesn't matter the level, if you know where the goal is and your name is Steve Bull, you have a go for it. What a good strike, heck of a good ball by Waddle, and no hesitation. Really good strike.
Oh, Steve Bull just showing us how he scored those 50-odd goals. Wonderful chest down. He didn't hesitate, did he? As soon as he was in sight of the goal, and Jim Leighton had no chance if that was going to end up in the corner of the net, but fortunately for him, it was just the other side of the post.
A couple of good shots on goal in the statistics column at the start of the second half. If you're finicky, you would say that Bulls was going wide and shouldn't count, but I hope it does. And Waddle's pass out of the textbook of Hoddle. Webb. There's Waddle again. Well picked up by Waddle. Unlucky. Good advantage play by the referee. And nice combination between Cotty and Waddle. Cotty, I'm sure, was fouled there. The referee allowed the play to go on. And as Leighton came towards Waddle, Waddle tried to get over his head and gave it too much.
Selected the chip there, Chris Waddle, but it was almost impossible to lift it over the goalkeeper Jim Leighton and then for it to come down and end up in the net. It really would have been better off blasting it. Easy to say from sitting up here, but either hitting it with a goal or even across the face of the goal. But the chip was almost impossible to get in from that angle.
Chased by Bull. McLeish was in trouble. Trevor Stephen. Got himself lost, and another good strike, but wide. This one from Trevor Stephen.
Jim Leighton after the game will probably tell the Scottish lads that he had both of those shots covered.
Ball again, left on the seat of his pants, and it was a poor challenge by McLeish. Made contact with the back of Bull's right leg. As we got the injured Bull, I had this image of you when you were talking about Waddle a few minutes ago, of you in the same position, which Would you have gone for power, Trev?
My pace wouldn't have got me into that position, unfortunately.
Pearce's free kick. It's a good header. Webb. Somebody's obviously told the players that you can shoot from outside the area. We've had several at the start of this second half. That was the fourth. McCoist didn't control it.
Ali McCoist has been very disappointing. There were some doubts as to whether he would play after the disappointment of the Scottish Cup final last week, and with the substitutes warming up at half-time, I wouldn't think it would be too long if they don't get any joy in the next 5 or 10 minutes if a change is made.
Here's Steve Bull taking on Malpass. Among the Scottish substitutes, David Speedy and Alan McAnally, Coventry and Villa respectively. Nevin kept it in. McKimmy's in trouble. Cotty. Webb.
And England really have taken a grip, haven't they, in this second half? And Andy Roxburgh must be worried, because they're totally dominating the midfield, feeding it out wide, and Stevie Bull now coming more into the game.
I'd say that was a bit of a scissors tackle by Pearce, but McKimmie certainly got caught in possession. Ball to Waddle, back early, perhaps a bit too early. McStay, McCoist. It asked a lot of him, to be fair. It's been Jim Steele, who's the physiotherapist of Celtic and of Scotland, who's been hoping to get McCoist prepared for the game, but he's not at his sharpest. His substitute is Peter Grant of Celtic. Nevin. Connor makes the move inside. This is Aitken. McKimmie on the far right. Waddle for company. That's the easy pass. McStay. Mo Johnston. Didn't really get fire on the shot. Takes it on the chest and tries to turn. Peter Shilton playing against Scotland for the 10th time. 5 times he's kept a clean sheet. McKimmie. McCoist. Again, not the power. Waddle. Nevin. Play by Walker. Well, just a touch of the Hampden Raw. 10 minutes of the second half goal. Still 1-0 to England. Mo Johnston. Butcher's header. Webb's foot. Aitken. Pearce To his Forest colleague, Webb. To Gary Stevens. Nevin. Getting more involved, but he's having to come inside to do so. Scotland's 23rd match under Andy Roxburgh. They've won 8 of them and look set for a 5th appearance in the World Cup. Trot. Cotty. Stevens. Plenty of movement from Steve Bull. Hemmings just stands there and waits for the pot at goal. Robson. Asked too much of Webb. Nice instep from Malpass. Connor. Seems to find the gap between league football and international football a bit difficult, Connor, but he's found McStay here. Johnston looking for the afters, but not the best of shots from McStay. Up and down player, Connor, but he doesn't seem to have been able to bring anything new to Scotland.
Difficult to come into this sort of game, having been out for several months and settle right back into the match. But Andy Roxburgh decided it is time to make the change. Although it's Peter Grant that's coming on, and Robert Connor, who we were just mentioning, perhaps not surprisingly the ones to come off. And Peter Grant, I think, a bit more competitive, and will try and wrestle the midfield away from England.
And for Peter Grant, it's his first appearance at senior level in a Scottish shirt. Started in a more central position. I think they've pushed Aitken across. Nevin, and now Grant in fact on the right. That's useful. Good first touch, Nevin. Goal kick, so it must have just gone before he crossed it. Still well enough for Scotland at under 21 level. And got a winner's medal for Celtic in the Scottish Cup a week ago on this pitch. Yes, they've definitely moved Aitken across to the left, McStay and Grant in the middle of the midfield. Nevin, who's got much more involved in this half, on the right. Same 2 up front. There's Aitken. Play by McPherson. Not a very good throw out by Jim Leighton. Cotty is waiting in the middle. Bull's cross. Malpass. England have a player down, injured on the far side. Trevor Stephen. Fred Street has gone across to the far side to attend to him. You can just see at the top of the picture. Nevin. Brian Robson. It's fight and determination from the Scots, but England still have much the greater control. And we've had an hour of the match. England 1, Scotland 0. That's useful. McCoist! Still McCoist! He's unlucky. So close to goal number 5 for his country. It's a long ball forward from McKimmie. And he got away. Shilton was right on top of him. And England had the luck with the rebound.
Great ball from McKimmie there. And Peter Shilton did exceptionally well. Got out, blocked the shot, and then the ricochet was a teaser for Ali McCoy. There it was, tricked in towards the goal, and he couldn't catch it. There he goes. Hits a shot, comes off Shilton, hits Ali McCoy, and he thinks to himself, I don't believe that.
I think that's the first time in the match that Ali McCoy has reacted with instinct. Stevens cross, he's recovered. Red Street has done the magic again. Here's Webb! Offside, offside. Wouldn't have counted, he may be quite pleased about that now. Flag from the Swedish linesman, maybe a little bit late. He's offside there, and now the flag goes up.
I think you're right, Barry. He wasn't offside when the ball was played.
Is that another example of a referee running a line? Stuart Pearce hasn't missed a game this season. Contrast his move to the end of last season when ligament trouble, knee ligaments, kept him out of the European Championships. But it proved to be a good tournament to miss. McKimmie. Grant. McKimmie. Nevin. Ball. Field for handball, not given. Cottee is inside, Webb is square. Ball determined, but not able to get a pass. Webb. Stevens, Cottee. Stephen again, ball can't get through the crowd. Belongs to Pearce. Didn't make the most of it. Well, the referee, Michel Vautreau, knows all about these contests in the Rous Cup. But he referees all around Europe and indeed the world. I wonder how he feels about the style of football compared with, say, what was seen in midweek in the European Cup final.
I'm just pleased he's recovered from the cup of coffee I knocked on his lap on the flight up yesterday. He reckoned he wouldn't give England a penalty as a result of that.
Aitken, but he came back to go inside when the positive ball was forward. But now Aitken, now Johnston, wasn't a very good pass he gave to Johnston either. Being a bit critical of the Scottish captain, but just a couple of occasions there without quite the drive that he might have wished he had, or wished to find. Nevin with the resulting corner, straight to Trevor Stephen. McStay. That's a lot of Malpass. Yes, there are a lot of names missing from this contest, apart from the players from Liverpool and Arsenal. People like Charlie Nicholas and Gordon Dury and Kevin Gallagher, Graham Sharp, Jim Bett, all on the injured list. Richard Gough, Ian Ferguson. As the Scots are concerned, of course, England without not only the Arsenal and Liverpool players, but also Gary Lineker. A few changes before next week's match. Levin's cross. Pearce with the header. And Shilton unhappy about the cover. And I wonder whether the Scots might be unhappy that there was no challenge at all from Mo Johnston in the air.
I think Pete Shilton was complaining that England allowed the free kick to be taken so quickly.
Coist and Johnson in the area. McLeish. Goal kick.
The introduction of Peter Grant has just given them an extra man in that midfield area. They're playing, although Roy Aitken is a little bit left, there's really three of them in the midfield now against Webb and Robson. It's just now a problem of Scotland getting extra men forward from the midfield to support the front two, but they're certainly competing more in the midfield department.
Malpass. Touch from Walker. This is Johnston, and still, he's picked out Grant well, struck it well, good save. McCoy's, Shilton's good punch. It's a corner. Oh, didn't he hit it well? Grant coming in again, but that's Butchers. McLeish, disappointing. No test for Shilton, but he was equal to the effort of Peter Grant. Probably the best strike on his goal in the match so far. Heck of a good ball by Johnston. Pulled it back to him, looked up. Grant had the space and the time. Two came to him, and he got a bit of a deflection too off McCoist, which added to the quality of Shilton's save. It remains at 1-0 for England. Just after 23 minutes of the second half. Nevin again coming from midfield from the right side. Grant. McStay. Eventually. Johnston. Well by Pearce, but he won the ball.
Often criticised fullback Stuart Pearce, a bit aggressive at times, but he's never let England down the last few matches, and since taking over from Kenny Sansom, has seen off Tony Dorigo at the moment, and perhaps Nigel Winterburn, who played very well for Arsenal in their title-winning season. But at the moment, Stuart Pearce is the man in possession.
And winning today his 13th cap. Cotty. Good ball by Malpass. Nevin, who popped up on the left side to plug the hole. Stevens, Robson. Wants somebody left side. Nevin is a little reluctant to go forward again, and they tried to come back through the middle. really was an occasion when if Nevin had got further forward, there would have been a chance to get round the back of the England defence.
Which has really been the Scotland team's problem all afternoon. They've never been able to get to the byline to get in those sort of crosses. And now, of course, taking Robert Connor off, although they've competed more in the central midfield area, they've not got any width on that left-hand side, although Pat Nevin's popping over there. When he goes on the left, they've got nothing on the right.
McPherson. Butcher. Scoot off his boot. Referee's given the free kick. Robson has made nothing of it, but looks made the point. Back header. Stephen. There's a bit of a gap there. Didn't really hit it truly. McCoist. Nevin. Back inside, turned into a ruck of 4 players. Grant, oh nicely done. Changed the whole angle by that. That's the sort of ball the Scots should be looking for. Malpass. Nevin. Grant, McCoist, way by way. Waddle. Aitken's challenge. Straight roars of approval. Just thinking, Trevor, about the balance of the Scottish side. I mean, Malpass is a left-sided player. It's the first time we've really seen him in the last third of the field that I can remember. Gary Stevens. Waddle. Ready, steady, go. McKimmy's clearance. Stevens. Cotty. Stevens, bull looking, but not finding.
You mentioned Maurice Malpass. Definitely hasn't got forward as much as you'd like. I thought Stuart McKimmy's done quite well on the right back spot, and I suppose they've always got Steve Nicol, who they can play as a left back. But I have been disappointed. I mean, Scotland, really, by bringing on Peter Grant, have stopped England playing, but they've not actually contributed anything themselves to looking a better attacking outfit. And they're 1-0 down, and really England will be quite content to see the scoreline stay like this. So it's up to Scotland to take the attack initiative. So probably Alan McAnally or David Speedy has to be the option at some stage.
Two ahead of him. Well, that was the likely outcome. The 2 players ahead were both running in the same sort of channels, and an interception was going to be fairly comfortable, and Nevin was really struggling to get up on the left side as we look, far side as we look. So 15 minutes left. England still leading by Waddle's goal scored in the 20th minute. And England make their second substitution. Off comes Tony Cottee, and on comes the birthday boy, Paul Gascoigne, who's 22 years old today. Gazza, as everybody calls him. It's a good birthday for people in sport too. Handball given against Robson. It's a birthday for Duncan Goodhue, for Ravi Shastri, the Indian cricketer, Pat Cash, going back a bit further, Sam Snead. And Gazza also shares a birthday with Henry Kissinger. And for the record, the headmaster of Eton College.
And there's Paul Gascoigne. Interested in taking off Tony Cottee. Decided Paul Gascoigne's sort of flair play might be better suited just off Stevie Ball up front rather than taking off a midfield player and perhaps risking Scotland getting a bit of superiority there. But I must mention just now the free kick Scotland have. Paul McStade's cross was awful, really, and the crossing into the England penalty box has been terrible. When you think the front two, Ali McCoist and Mo Johnson, have not got any height at all, and once you put the ball up in the air, the England defenders have enjoyed everything about those sort of crosses.
It's Nevin. Pearce at a bit more of a stretch. Waddle. A nice weight for Gascoigne. That's his Tottenham colleague, and the appeal that the ball went out, heard by the linesman. Rescue by Walker for the corner. To take again. McCoist and Johnson in the 6-yard area. Aitken on the edge of it. McPherson, McLeish. He's coming on it late again, but he hasn't been able to find a header that's counted.
There's got to be a great header. Look how wide this is, right on the edge of the penalty area. To come in there, I mean, you're probably looking for somebody like Mo Johnson to get on the end of it, but it's such a deep header that it's certainly not going to score direct from there, and it's too far out from the corner kick.
Strong header by Butcher. Back to Dave McPherson. Nevin playing alongside the other little fellas forward. Is Aitken pressurising Pearce. The fact that there's only one goal between the teams just keeps the match on a light simmer. Grant. Robson. Gazza and Grant. Free kick against Grant. It would be in keeping with the style of the latest member of the People's Choice, Paul Gascoigne, if he was to celebrate his birthday. Ten minutes remaining. Ball, and again! Oh! Right in the corner, what a start. Scoring on his debut. The man from the 3rd division, and Wolves, although they're about to lead there, scores on his first appearance at senior level. Eye for goal again. No hesitation, bang.
The cross in here, and as he goes up with McPherson, look, it hits his back, and he's already turning because he knows where it's going to drop, and he finishes superbly. And really instinctive goal scoring once again, and lads will find it difficulty when they try to ruffle his hair, but once he gets in the penalty box, he does tuck them away.
And that's his 54th goal of the season for club, for England under 21, England B, and now the full national side. Great ball by Webb. Gascoigne. Gary Stevens. I don't think there's too much doubt who will take the headlines from this contest. Steve Bull, 24-year-old from Wolves. It's now a question of pride for the Scots. Bull, even that landing kindly, could get a second. Stumbling through. Oh. He's certainly out of the old-fashioned mould. Such determination. It was never really running properly for him. Stole it there. Tried to turn inside McKimmie, nearly fell over. And he's even battling for the second one after Leighton had made a good save.
He's definitely the old bull in the china shop, isn't he? Battling through, because really at the moment he's playing up there by himself, but he's caused more problems up there by himself since Paul Gascoigne came on. And Scotland really now knowing the game is beyond them, and they're going to find it difficult to play out these last 8 minutes or so.
Gascoigne went for the narrow angle.
If I'd have been Stevie Bull, I would have a few words with Paul Gascoigne, because a little square ball across the goal and he would have got on the second. He did all the hard work, Paul Gascoigne there, but should have squared it across the goal.
But it is his birthday. Oh, we can see the availability of Bull, but Gascoigne is always going to try and sneak one in, I think. Steve Bull, he's been on now, coming up 55 minutes. Did it take you all that time to think of the line about the China shot?
I should think that's been used a few times in the Wolverhampton area anyway over the last couple of years, goodness me.
Scottish corner. Corner number 10 for Scotland. McPherson waits for it to drop, but there was a little push before. 10-5 in corners, but in terms of goals, Steve Bull giving England their second and showing the sort of form he's produced, whatever the shirt he's worn. Stumble, an attempt to get number 2 for himself. Five minutes left, and England have ensured that, barring accidents, in the last 5 minutes, Scotland cannot win the Rous Cup because England already have 3 points. Here's McCoyce. Did he use his hand then? It's a goal kick anyway.
If you need urgent help because of domestic violence, contact your local police, the social services or the Samaritans. Advice is available during office hours on the numbers shown here, and the National Helpline is also open on weekdays from 7 until 10 in the evening. Next Wednesday at 9:30, Inside Story follows the trial of a wealthy New York lawyer, which took place earlier this year in the full glare of publicity. An experiment in America which allowed television networks to film in the criminal courts. In 5 minutes, over on BBC Two, Newsnight reports on President Bush's first official visit to Britain. Also, whether the relationship between Britain and America is still special. And David Sells reports from Poland on the first democratic elections for 40 years. And in a moment here on One, Sports Night.
In a medieval city in Tuscany, an ancient battle is fought under the sun.
The Palio of Siena is the oldest horse race in the world. It begins at dawn, 4 days before the race itself, when horses are brought in from the surrounding fields to be chosen to run. For these next 4 days, everything else in the city comes to a halt.
The most dangerous horse race in the world, tomorrow at 9:30 on 2.
Now on One, Steve Ryder introduces World Cup football and quarter-final cricket in Sports Night.
Good evening. Tonight, Wales needing all the inspiration they can find as they take on West Germany in World Cup Group 4, and they've gone to the right place to get it. Cardiff Arms Park, the national stadium, always worth a few extra points to Welsh rugby. For the first time, it urges on Welsh soccer. The effect on Franz Beckenbauer's immensely talented Germans, though, remains to be seen. Graham Gooch's form comes at the right time for England and for Essex.
Yeah, thank you very much. Typical good shot, flipped away on the onside, square leg. That's 100 to Graham Gooch.
Benson and Hedges Cup quarter-finals today will have highlights of Essex against Lancashire. From Northern Ireland, we check the confidence of Dave McCauley, so brave in his world title challenges against Fidel Bassa, and a dangerous opponent for Duke Mackenzie next Wednesday. Inspiration in its most illegal form is also a theme. After Ben Johnson, is there a new attitude to drug abuse in sport? Maybe not.
The axiom amongst track and field plus other athletes was if you don't take it, you won't make it.
And we talk to the man who looks like surviving this bad moment to win a record number of caps for England. Peter Shilton, aiming to put the World Cup record straight against Poland. Well, let's put tonight's playoff record straight, first of all. First legs of the finals. In Division 2, Blackburn 3, Crystal Palace 1. A last-minute goal by Blackburn's Simon Garner means his side take a priceless 2-goal advantage into Saturday's second leg at Selhurst Park. That followed 2 earlier Blackburn goals by Howard Gale. Eddie McGoldrick's goal, though, for Palace, 5 minutes from time, keeps them in with a chance. In Division 3, Bristol Rovers 1, Port Vale 1. A 73rd-minute goal by Robbie Earle cancelled out Gary Penrice's first-half goal for Rovers and makes Port Vale favourites to claim the 3rd promotion place to the 2nd Division in their home leg on Saturday. Well, it's a sad night for British boxing with the news tonight of the retirement of the former world champion Barry McGuigan. The Belfast fighter made his decision after being stopped in the 4th round of his world super featherweight title eliminator with London's Jim McDonnell in Manchester. McGuigan won the world featherweight crown 4 years ago, but lost the title to American Steve Rous 12 months later. Now, before we head to Cardiff for tonight's World Cup match, Wales and West Germany, another match in Group 4, the Welsh group, was played tonight. Finland against the powerful Dutch side in Helsinki. And the match really hinged around a man who'd been left on the bench for the first half, during which time the Dutch were looking more and more frustrated. 0-0 when Ruud Gullit made his entrance, but he came on to make his presence felt immediately. Gullit providing the service for Kieft, but once again the Dutch were out of luck. Holland looking for a win that could take them to the top of the group. Frustrating for them, for not only were they looking for that victory, but they were also looking for victory by a big margin to give them an advantage in this most competitive of groups. But the magic of Gullit would at least provide the victory, even though it came very late. 3 minutes from time. A combination of control and power, and this time Kieft made sure. The marvellous talents of Ruud Gullit and the